All right, so what we did today is we are looking at how to answer our reflection questions a little bit better. Mrs. Othat and I were looking at through some of your reflections for your narrative one-pager and realized that we need a little bit more structure in the sense of trying to help you get to where you need to be in order to answer that question better. So we're going to do some brainstorming today with the first question. The first question was all about mentor texts and how mentor texts help us understand the attributes that we're learning in class. And so what we're going to do is you're going to get a separate sheet of notebook paper because this is going to be part of your grade for your reflection. So make sure you get a separate sheet of notebook paper for this. Okay? At any time, if you need to pause this video because I'm going too fast, you can always pause it. You can always rewind, that kind of stuff. But what you're going to do on this piece of paper is you're going to put your name. So go ahead and write your name. And then what I want you to do too after that is you're going to divide this paper into about 4 boxes that are about the same size that look like this. Okay, so you have your name, you have 4 boxes about the same size. And then we're just going to brainstorm how to answer this question. So again, the question is talking about how mentor text helps us understand the attributes that we're learning in class. So the first part is just why mentor text. Okay, so this first box up here, I'm just going to put why mentor text. Okay, so just in that box, you just put why mentor text. We're going to underline that, and we're going to kind of talk through some things on why, like what is the purpose? Mrs. Othat and I use a lot of mentor text. What is the purpose of that? And so some things and some ideas that came from other classes that we had is that a mentor text is like an example. It's an example that we can look towards in the sense that we can find things that we're learning about in reading and writing. It's also like a guide. It's kind of similar to example, but it's a guide to help you as a reader and writer. And yes, you're going to be writing this stuff down, so make sure you're writing that. And then this is also, I love this one too. It's like someone said it's a place that you can like steal ideas from. Okay, so mentor texts are really cool because when you read it, you're like, ooh, I really like how they did that. And then you can try to recreate that in your own work. And so it's like stealing their idea in the sense of, I'm going to try that. I'm going to see if I can also make that work. Okay, so that's what mentor text is. That's why we do. That's behind the why of what's going on. So when you're answering the question of why mentor text, you need to make sure that you're also kind of talking through that instance there. Okay. All right, so we have 3 more boxes. Now, with those 3 boxes in this reflection, you have to have 3 different attributes that you are also talking about. And so what you're going to do is in each of these 3 boxes, you're going to have a heading in there, kind of like how we have this, why mentor text. And you're going to choose 3 different attributes. Now, the attributes are all the things that we put on your one-pager. So in your notebook, you're going to see that we have this. I know you don't have yours right now, so if you need to pause this and kind of choose the top 3 that you're going to use, that's fine. You can choose those here. I'll show you this again after I kind of write mine down. But you're going to choose 3 of these attributes that we are going to be looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side. So I'm going to say my first one, let's say, is setting. That is one of the attributes that I am going to talk about. I'm also going to talk about character. I'm also going to talk about plot. Okay, so all I did was I chose 3 different attributes and I put them into the different sections. Okay, so you're only going to choose 3. I'm going to go ahead and put this here. If you want to go ahead and pause, that way you can find your 3 that you're going to do. I'll zoom in there a little bit for you. You're going to find the 3 that you're going to do, and you're going to write 1 in each of those different boxes because you have 3 boxes left. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back to what we're doing. You may want to pause because I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. Okay? All right, so at this point, you have 3. Wow, that's really zoomed in there. Okay. You have 3 that you have chosen. Your 3 may be the same as mine. Maybe they're different. Either way, it doesn't really matter which one that is. Okay? Now, this is going to be a little challenging just because you are at home in the sense of what you are working with and what you're doing. So I'm going to show you where you can access all of these things in the sense of finding the information that you need. So at school, what we ended up doing, and I'll just kind of talk to you about this because I do want you to include these on there. But like setting is what we did is we had the kids go through their notebook and they had to find the page number for setting. So what you're going to do, since you don't have your notebook, you're going to go to Schoology. And when you're in Schoology, you're going to go to the reading writing course. And then once you're in there, you're going to see that there's a notes section and that there's also a mentor text section. These two folders you're going to look at a great deal today in the sense of being able to fill out the sheet that is currently in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do in the sense of I have setting for my first one. So again, I'm going to show you mine really quickly. I have setting for my first one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all the things that are in there for setting. So setting is right here. It's from writing. So I'm going to click on this. This is the mentor text I did with setting. Okay, now this does not actually tell you what page it is in the notebook, which is okay. So I will tell you this one just so you know. Because what I'm wanting you guys to do is I'm wanting you guys to use your notebooks. Okay, so this is actually going to be on page 17. So when you get back to class, if you're doing setting, you could look at page 17 to get this. Okay, and when we do that though, we're able to use our notebook and see what's going on in there. Okay, so then what happens is that on page 17, you actually have this particular mentor text inside taped into page 17. So then from this, you're going to choose a mentor text. So maybe there's one that really sticks out to you because you remember doing it. Maybe you really just liked a certain one. I don't know. It's up to you, kind of what's going on. The one that I'm going to focus on today is Warcross. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mentor text that I am looking at, and I'm going to write that right here. So I'm going to put mentor text, MT is mentor text, and I'm going to put Warcross. Okay, because with that attribute, I need to go to a mentor text, and then I'm going to explain how that mentor text helps with setting. What do they do in order to show me that setting? Okay, because we use those mentor texts to kind of help us see that. Now, this is the mentor text, and I know it's a little sideways. So you can kind of look at that a little differently. And the one that you guys actually have in your notebook is actually written on, so it may look a little bit different too because it's annotated. But this paragraph right here really talks about the setting. It allows us to get that visual of what it looks like there and why that might matter. And so something I just want to kind of point out to you in this particular instance is that right here it says rusted iron bars cage. It also has trash is heaped. So what I'm going to do, because that helps me to visualize, it's creating that setting in the sense of what's going on. It also has graffiti covers one side of the building. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down things that I see in the mentor text that allow me to understand setting. So rusted iron bars cage, and I'm putting them in quotations because it's textual evidence. It's things that are not my writing. Trash is heaped. That means it's piled really high. Okay, so these are things that are helping me as the reader understand setting and why mentor text can be helpful in understanding those attributes, because mentor text, Warcross, was helpful for me to understand why setting is so important because of these things that were listed in there. And saying that was allowing me to visualize kind of what's going on. Okay, all right. So this is essentially what you're going to do for the 3 attributes that you have listed. Again, I know yours is a little bit different. You may not have the page number, which that's okay right now because you don't have your notebook. But some of them you are going to see that you actually have access to all that. So like there's setting. These are the mentor texts. So if you have emotion, you can click on this one. If you have connotation, you can click on this one. If you have hook or lead, character, conflict, you have all those different things. But then you also have notes that are down here that could help you as well. And the notes section actually has the page number on there. So like for me, my next one is character. And so since I know my next one's character, what I can do is I can go, oh, that's actually on page 20. So if I wanted to, because I see that, I could go ahead and put page 20 because it's there. But that way I already know in my notebook when I get back to school, if I turn to page 20, that's where all the character stuff is. Okay? All right, so then after I do that, I'm going to find character, and I'm going to look at the mentor text that we did with character. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to figure out, okay, how did this mentor text help me to understand character? And you're going to do the same sort of idea that we did with setting. You're going to put the mentor text that it was, and you're going to tell me how that mentor text helped you understand character. What was in that mentor text that helped you understand character? Okay? Same thing with plot or the other attribute that you named. You're going to, again, go back to Schoology, and you're going to make sure that you're looking at which one it is that you put down, that attribute that you have, and you're going to click on it. And then you're going to find it up here because you're going to see the mentor text, because the whole question is why or how does mentor text help us as readers understand the attributes of our learning in class? And that is exactly it. You're looking at those mentor texts going, okay, well, this is about connotation. Connotation is really impactful in this piece. So this mentor text helped me understand connotation because blank. Okay? All right, so this is really just a brainstorming sheet that's going to help you in the sense of when you get back to school that you're able to write your reflection. So you just need this piece of paper, because this piece of paper is going to be really important for you. You should have more than what I have written down. I'm not going to do the rest for you. This is something that you need to do on your own. If you chose setting and you want to do all that for setting, that's fine, but I'm not going to do the rest. You need to have your 3 attributes, the mentor text you used, and then the information that was gathered from that mentor text that helps you with that attribute. Okay? So that's kind of what's happening. I will say this, that some kids, they ended up using one mentor text for all 3 of their attributes. If that's the case, that's fine. Just make sure you're noting that in the sense of you're putting the mentor text that you're using for each individual attribute. Okay? All right, when you are done with that, I need a picture of your completed brainstorming. You're going to take a picture of it and send it to me in an email. That way I know that you did that. And then when you get back to school, we'll attach that to your green sheet reflection, and we'll have you redo that reflection if needed, in the sense of that you're answering the whole question. All right, that's all I have for you. Thanks.